All righty. Obviously, not the post-game show we wanted to start here on Mother's Day. I know there's a lot of moms out there who root for the Knicks, whether it's because they are fans of the team on their own or because they just follow the team because they have a child that is a fan of them, as my mom does. But we wish happy Mother's Day to all of them to start because moms are awesome. And this is certainly not how we wanted to repay them with a post game that is starting 3 minutes and 51 seconds before this game is over, which tells you basically all you need to know. I don't think I have a ton to say about this one. I don't know that there really is a lot to say about this game. It is all about what you can say and what you can assume and what it would be irresponsible to assume about things moving forward. Before I say what little I do have to say about this game, I think the smartest thing that I've heard anybody say is what JJ Redick said a few minutes ago, which is that you could lose by whatever, 25, 30, 35, 50 points, whatever the case may be. It still only counts as one game. And for as many questions I have about where this Knicks team is at right now and what they are capable of doing and what they may finally be incapable of doing, the one thing that I don't really have much question about is their resolve. And I understand that it may be tempting to question their resolve on a day where they went down by as many as, 30 some odd points. I don't think did the lead ever reach 40 points. I don't think the lead ever reached 40 points, but I'll double check that right now. It did reach 40. Did it go over 40?
103.63 at the end of the
so we got up to 40.
Yeah.
43, actually. Excuse me. Yeah, 43 points. So, yeah, it might sound silly to not question their resolve on a day that they went down by this much and where really, this thing was, it was 34-11 in the first quarter, But I'm not going to question their resolve because I think mentally, emotionally, all those things, I think they will put this behind them. And if anything, I think they will use the fact that they had to sit there, a lot of them for most of the second half, most of their primary rotation players for a lot of the second half, and look at the Pacers, dance around and celebrate this win like this was the win that is going to send Indiana to the Eastern Conference Finals. Again, Jalen Brunson has said it multiple times this postseason. If you need extra motivation, you're probably not in the right business. It would not be surprising if, to the extent that they could find any more motivation, they did going into Game 5 at home based on how they just watched the Pacers stomp all over them like they were dirt on a back road. Again, that I'm not worried about, but unfortunately, that is only part of the story, because the unfortunate part of the story is that this was far more than just Knicks weren't hitting shots and everything was falling for the Pacers. Yeah, that had a lot to do with it. They were down by, I think, 32 points at halftime. No, they were down by 28 points at halftime. Excuse me. They were down by 28 points at halftime. Pacers had made 10 threes. Knicks had made 2. So it's a 24-point difference right there. You're down by 28. So you want to chalk it up, to hot shooting versus incredibly cold shooting. Yeah, that has something to do with it. But it's more than that. It, I think, it's two different conversations. The first conversation is on the defensive end, where the Pacers at times throughout this series have looked like a team for which, not that the Knicks did not have answers for, but they had the Knicks number. As Benji is fond of saying, they put you in the blender. And when they put you in the blender, it's ugly. And I think from the opening tip tonight And for the entire relevant portion of this game, the Pacers had the Knicks in the blender. And that is something that we have not seen. Not for a whole game. We've seen it for portions of games. We've seen it even for like entire quarters of games. But we haven't seen it for an entire game, an entire half, let alone an entire game. So are the Knicks capable of playing better defense? Yes. But what does it take to play that level of defense? It takes not only mental fortitude, but just plain energy. You have to physically be able to do it. And I wonder how much the fact that we started this series, the Knicks had gotten 3 days off. They had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and obviously the majority of Monday off before they played game 1. And then it started, and then they again quick turnaround, but again you still had some reserves of energy because you had those 3 days, those 3+ days going into game 2. And then game 3, I thought we started to see it fall off when the Pacers were sitting there with 77, 78 something points early in the third quarter. And then the Knicks put together it wasn't even 10 minutes. It was a 9-minute stretch of basketball where they found something defensively that it didn't look like they had left. And that's what got them back in that game. And then what happened after that 9-minute stretch, they still defended okay, but they ran out of gas on offense. So the first question is, what do they have left in the tank in terms of the ability to defend this Pacer team and really reach down and find something else that they did not have in the slightest in this game? And I said that's question number 1. That's not question number 1. That's question number 2. Question number 1 is Jalen Brunson. And I don't know whether game 2, when he scored 24 points after halftime, was adrenaline. I don't know if that was whatever they maybe shot him up with at halftime, muscle memory, guile, whatever you want to call it. He found a way. He found a way in game 2, and then 2 things happened. 3 things happened, but the third, I'm going to put a distant third. The first thing that happened was his foot, ankle, whatever the hell it is not right. And you saw it tonight. Couldn't lift. Couldn't get any lift. All the shots were short. Missed a shot at the rim that he will make. Forget 9 times out of 10. He'll make 97 times out of 100. Can't move laterally. I think that's obviously affecting his defense as much as his offense. The shiftiness is gone. So question number 1, how much can he get that back before game 5? And then obviously moving on in the series, and we'll see how relevant it is that they have 3 games off between game 5 and game 6. So how much of that can he get back? Can he look like, he's not going to look like 100% of Jalen Brunson by game 5, but can he look like 10% more like Jalen Brunson than he does right now? 5% more? 8% more? 12% more? I don't know. That's question number 1. Or thing number 1. Thing number 2 is this series has been called very differently, and I thought that manifested itself more in game 3, but I think you could argue that it manifested itself tonight too. I mean, I forget who it was, if it was Doris Burke or JJ Redick on the broadcast tonight when TJ McConnell was called for a foul on Brunson. I think said something along the lines of like, well, that was at least the third time he fouled him, and it's the first one that was called. I think they meant on that possession. You know, so the Pacers are testing their limits because their coach went out there and said what he said and made sure that the Pacers were going to be able to test their limits. And you're seeing that manifesting, and like in not only the physical coverage, but like very clear landing area foul in the first quarter, very, very early in the first quarter. Nesmith encroaches, doesn't get called. The entire broadcast was on it. Nothing. You know, so they've changed the way that they've called the series. That's number 2. And then number 3, and I'll put it at a distant third because really it's only a byproduct of number 2, which is they put Nesmith on him. But again, if it's you don't have number one, which is if Brunson was Brunson, Neesmith would be burnt toast. Number two, if they weren't calling the series like they're calling it now, Neesmith would be toast. So you get either number one or number two, and not take it off the list. And number three doesn't matter, which is why I hesitate to put the Neesmith switch even on the list. But I'll at least mention it. So, how much can Brunson look like Brunson? As far as everybody else on, I mean, look, the Knicks are they were cold tonight. If they had been hot instead of cold, or they had been mediocre instead of cold, maybe it's it's the lead isn't. Maybe the lead's in the high teens at halftime. And you know what? Maybe the fact that they were ice cold, maybe that's for the best. And maybe it's for the best because at the very least there was no run in this game. There was no fake Knick comeback, and like the guys got their rest. Now I'm sure there's going to be comments tonight that why didn't they take Brunson out earlier? Why didn't they take DiVincenzo out earlier? I'm not going to sit here and lose my shit about an extra 4 or 5 minutes. If you want to lose your mind about it, that's fine. I'll honor whatever super chat you want to send in. I'm not going to yell at you. People are angry. I get it. But they got some rest, or at least a lot more rest than they have been getting. And given how they defended in that third quarter, I can't say that anything they did in the third quarter was all particularly strenuous on any of the guys that did play after halftime. So, you hope that they're going to be rested. And that's really all you can hope for. I think I will be curious if there's a starting lineup change. Obviously, Deuce McBride started in the starting lineup coming out of the second half. I wonder, obviously Thibodeau wanted to get a look at that. It's small, and this is a Pacer team that suddenly is quicker to the ball on both ends of the floor in terms of rebounding. So you put Deuce out there, all of a sudden you're going to start 4 guys who are 6'4" or under. Can you make that work on the boards, especially with Isaiah Hartenstein potentially compromised because he got hurt in this game, just to add another name onto the list. So I don't know. It makes you quicker on defense, gives you more shooting on offense. Is it worth the trade-off? Well, we'll find out in a couple days. And then, the Jericho Sims minutes have obviously been a disaster. Does he go to Sims again? Does he stick with a 7-man rotation? Does he give Burks more run? We saw Shake Milton in this game. Is there a possibility to see Shake Milton, in a small role in a couple nights? At this point, I'm not going to say that anything's on the table because, again, it's never as bad as it seems when you get killed. It's never as good as it seems when you win a big game. But, I'll say this. It wouldn't utterly shock me. But, at the end of the day, this team, look, might be famous last words, but this team might just be out of gas. And the most prescient thing I have heard anybody say for the entire postseason, and maybe the most prescient thing I have heard anybody say this year, is something that DJ Zullo has been saying. He said it, I think, after the news came down that Bogdanović was going to be out for the rest of the season. He said it then for the first time, and he said it a few times since then. And keep in mind, since then, Mitchell Robinson's gone down, OG Anunoby's gone down, and now Brunson is compromised. And the term that he keeps using is critical mass. Have the Knicks reached a critical mass where they just sustained one injury too many? And you could make an argument that they sustained one injury too many when Bogey went down, and you added that to Randall, and you expected them to win this series. That was before we found out about Mitchell Robinson being down for the year. And that was before OG Anunoby went down and has now missed 2 straight games, or 2.5 games, and is going to miss a third. And that was before we got the injury to Jalen Brunson. So all of these things together, which is why the other thing I'm sure I'm going to hear tonight is this is the coach's fault because he plays these guys a million minutes. Look, injuries happen. They're unfortunate. I had someone who was an actual medical doctor on this very podcast a few days ago, and I asked him point blank. I didn't try to duck the topic. Is this are these overused things? The OG thing, is that an overused thing? The Brunson thing, is that an overused thing? And he looked at me and he's like, not really. Not to the point where you should be, where you're looking at these things and being like, oh yeah, that's definitely related to that. Like, does it have something to do with it? Yeah, it has something to do with it, just because all of these things play a factor. But it's bad luck. It's bad luck, and they're beat. And you want to ask them to find a way. You want to ask them to find it within themselves to come up with. That's the thing, is like, you can't even say come up with one more big performance, because it's not just one more big performance. They got to come up with two more big performances to get to the next round. You'd love to see it. It would be such a shame if the season ended like this. And at the same time, like, if this is how it goes down, would it be unfortunate? Yeah. Would it put a sour taste in everybody's mouth? Yeah. Should it lessen our pride in this team and lessen our enjoyment in what the season has been? I don't think so. But we don't want to get out of ourselves. Look, they still have home court advantage, and they're going home for Game 5. Series is far from over. I know people will think that it's over. Series is far from over. Let's see what they come out with on Tuesday night at home in what I'm sure will be a energetic Madison Square Garden. And let's hope the Garden can keep that energy, even if they get hit in the face once or twice early, which, again, you figure the Pacers are going to come out ready to play. So we'll see. All right. I talked for 18 minutes for a guy who said that I don't have much to say. So that's a great sign. Andrew Clark.
John Macri. Happy Mother's Day to you, to your mom, to Dolores.
Happy
Mother's
Day to
moms in your life. Yeah, to my mom, to my mom-in-law, to future moms. No, that's not an announcement. No future moms in my household at the moment. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, in one of the wildest segues possible, we get to give a shout out to one of our sponsors. Shout out to Foreplay, who's also sent in a super chat tonight. So
awesome. Love it.
Yeah, so we'll let you do the ad read.
Awesome. Here we go. All right. So, you know how it is. What's up, Knicks fans? The other day I was talking to two girls. Love it. Who were telling me how into foreplay they are and how they wish they had more single guys to do it with. No, not that foreplay. We're not looking to get teed up on the pod. I'm talking FOURPLAY, Foreplay. It's an app where single friends team up and double date other single friends. It's a more fun, lower pressure, and safer way to meet new people, which is exactly why single girls love it. In fact, they love it so much that they make up the majority of teams on the app, as in a 3-to-1 ratio in your favor. Look, we all know everything's better with a friend. Just ask Josh and Jalen, even if Brunson won't admit it. And with Foreplay, you don't have to sacrifice bromance for romance, because it's a chance to enjoy a night out with a buddy while meeting two new people in a more social environment without any expectations. The icing on the cake, it's totally free. Totally free. All right, it's game time, so head over to the App Store now and download Foreplay. That is FOURPLAY. And get ready for a little 2-on-2 pickup. There we go. Thank you, Andrew Claudio. Well done.
Shout out Foreplay.
Love it.
Okay.
Everybody needs a little foreplay on Mother's Day.
I'll sign up for some foreplay on Mother's Day. With a mother? No, not even going down that road. Next up, a player of the game, John.
This is pretty easy. So, play of the game presented by Autograph. Download the Autograph app. Use code KFS. And get rewarded for your Knicks fandom. I feel... Oh, wow, that's a good one. Hold on. Sorry, before I give the player of the game. Good job, Steph Bondi. I don't know how this didn't hit me. Mother's Day Massacre. An easy way to remember this game.
Mother's Day Massacre.
Mother's Day Massacre. I have to steal that.
So I had Mother's Day Miracle in the chamber if they came back and won. So obviously didn't go that way.
No. That's a
Yeah.
bad job by you. Play of the game is pretty easy. It's Alec Burks. For a few reasons. One, there's no one else who I think you'd reasonably give the award to. And two, look, Burks, we didn't know if we'd be able to count on him for anything coming into the series. And dude played 23 minutes and scored 20 points in that time. Shot it pretty well. He's shot it pretty well now for 2 straight games. I mean, he was a minus 12 in those 23 minutes, but that's certainly not indicative of anything other than the fact that he played in this basketball game. So, yeah, autograph player of the game, Alec Burks. Congratulations to you, sir.
I'll second that. Alec Burks with a shout out to Mamadi Diakite. Thank you for coming in and getting some of our starters a break for this game in the fourth quarter. We thank you for your service, sir.
Yes.
Next up, a loaded segment, the Unified Healing Road to Recovery.
I mean, I think so. First of all, go to unifiedhealing.com to learn more and find a center near you. I'm going to steal my delivery of the Unified Healing Road to Recovery. If you give me 1 sec. From, I forget who brought this up on the halftime Zoom, but somebody on the halftime Zoom, I think actually may have been Ray or maybe Jason. One of them brought it up, asking how much in salary are the Knicks currently missing. So do you have a calculator handy by any chance?
I do. 1 second, okay. Jonathan. Go ahead.
All right. So here's the numbers you're going to put in. 23.7.
Okay.
Actually, no, sorry. You're not going to put in 23.7. Hold on. I just realized I was looking at the wrong page. I got it. Hang on 1 second. It's coming. Okay. Sorry. 28.2. Ready?
Got it.
28.2 plus 20.
Okay.
Got it. Plus 18.6.
Got it.
Plus 15.7.
Got it.
And I think that's it. So what does that get us to?
That gets us to 165.
That can't be right. You added wrong.
Oh, you know what? That gets us to 82.5. What I did was added 82.5 to the total again. So
82.5, and I'm not throwing Brunson's entire salary in there because Brunson's already criminally underpaid. But like, if you factor in that Jalen Brunson is not Jalen Brunson right now, but the Knicks have 5 players on their roster who make over essentially the $13 million, not essentially, who make over $13 million. 4 of them are not playing or didn't play in this game and didn't play in the last game either. And one of them, Jalen Brunson, is compromised, to put it politely. That's where we're at. And that's where we're at with the Unified Healing Road to Recovery. I am obviously, like every Knicks fan, frustrated, and I was frustrated sitting there watching that absolute ass beating. But so I want to choose my words carefully. It would have been nice, instead of the ratio of praising the Pacers to be at like 96% and the ratio of pointing out like any of the negatives that the Knicks are dealing with at 4%. It would have been nice if that was maybe like, I don't know, 75-25, 70-30, even if you want to be really generous. Not even asking for 50-50. So like, has Julius Randle's name been mentioned in the series? Maybe once or twice.
Just he was at one of the games, I think.
Okay,
maybe
that's nice. That's great.
But not in the sense of like,
yeah. Has Bojan Bogdanović's name been mentioned? I don't know if I've heard that. Like Anunoby was mentioned because they were talking about how they don't know if he's going to be like, to try to describe this game as anything other than there's one team playing with like one arm, one leg, and like half a foot versus another team that is playing with its entire not its entire rotation. They're missing Ben Mathurin, who's like a good bench cog for them. But like, it's kind of a big. I think it's a big part of the story, but that's just me.
It's the story. The moment Anunoby went down, it created a version of the Knicks that did not create as much of a gap, I thought, between the Knicks and the Pacers. Now, we'll see what happens in Game 5 if the Knicks get a bit of energy from their home crowd. As I've said throughout this series, the home whistle matters. So we'll see if that finally flips back to the Garden. But they're hemorrhaging. Like we've talked about this. They're currently hemorrhaging.
I'll say one more thing. This is gonna sound insane, maybe. I don't think Game 5 is a must-win any more than this was a must-win. And it's specifically because they have 3 days off between Game 5 and Game 6. Or 2 days off.
That calculation is Anunoby could potentially play Game 6.
It's Anunoby could potentially play in Game 6, and maybe just an extra night of rest or an extra day/night of rest for Brunson. And maybe it's just like a certain amount of time. Like we talked to Dr. Sutterer about like the time frame, and like you're gonna keep getting a little bit better each passing day. So that's the only other thing I want to throw out there. Okay, let's move on
real quick. The only counterpoint to Game 5 not being a must-win: Indiana has not lost a home game since March.
I don't
18th.
care. Don't care.
Never mind. You don't care.
Not relevant to me.
Why not?
Because I think the Knicks showed you in Game 3, like they're not afraid to come into this place and like play a big time game. I don't think the Knicks have been affected by a hostile road environment all year. And I think if you want to look at a tight team, watch again, assuming let's say the Knicks lose Game 5, go into Game 6, watch the Knicks get out to a little bit of a lead in that game, and watch that entire crowd's sphincters pucker up a little bit.
Now, if Game 5 looks the way Game 4 did, because they're out of gas, is an extra day of rest going to then give you confidence that they can then turn it around in Game 6?
I want to see how Brunson looks in Game 5. I obviously want to see if Anunoby might play in Game 6. Again, we're all like, listen, let's just play Game 5 and let's just go from there.
I agree. I'm just saying it's more of a must-win for me than it is for you.
Not for me.
My hope is a Game 5 win at home, and Anunoby's ready for Game 7.
I'll say this: I thought Game 6. It's going to sound nuts. I thought Game 6 in Philly, the way I felt going into Game 6 in Philly, I had more of a feeling that was a must-win than this Game 5 is a must-win for the Knicks. Just because I don't know how I would have liked the Knicks coming into Game 7 having lost 2 straight. Now, I understand here what I'm talking about is now them going into another building having lost 3 straight. But I think the difference is that there are very, very clear reasons why this is happening. And it's like, I don't think anyone in the Knicks locker room right now is looking around being like, shit, have we lost our mojo? Like, everybody knows what the deal is. And they're not, I don't think their confidence is shaken. I think they're just like, we have to find a way.
I'm not saying it is. It's very much just the way they lose Game 5 could potentially dictate a turn in the series. Like you opened talking about the critical mass, the point that they're at with their roster. You know, that's just, I'd like to see that turned around in Game 5.
It's a lot of it has to do with OG, and a lot of it has, and obviously Brunson and OG. That's what it has to do with.
Okay.
All right. Playoff scoreboard presented by T-Squared Social. Don't forget, check out tsquaredsocial.com to learn about club memberships, trivia nights, sports leagues, and much more. And also get a free draft beer when you go in there and you tell them KFS sent you. Playoff scoreboard, I guess, from yesterday. Cavs lost Game 3 at home. Jared Allen hasn't played in what feels like 2 weeks. Dean Wade came back, though. Had himself, I think he made a shot, maybe 2 shots.
Maybe.
So that series, and Donovan Mitchell played a great game. Evan Mobley was okay. Nobody else really did much of anything. That series had a chance to be a very stressful series, and now I mean, we'll see what happens in Game 4 in Cleveland, but it seems like Boston righted the ship. Same cannot be said for Oklahoma City, who lost a tight game against the Dallas Mavericks yesterday afternoon. they're in a tight spot. You want to talk about must win? Maybe. Well, I don't know. It's game 4, must win for them. We'll see. But they're down 2-1 in that series, and they've lost home court advantage. And then now we got Denver, Minnesota tonight.
I don't want to get into semantics of a must to win. I want the Knicks to win game 5. Plain and simple. I know you're not saying you don't. I'm less confident after 3 straight losses going into an environment that the Pacers are more confident, where they might get a better whistle too.
How about this? They will not get the Knicks. This will be a game in the fourth quarter in game 5, and then
I hope so.
We'll
I think it will too. I would sign up for that. Or like project that too.
It'll be a game. It'll be a game in the fourth quarter. Maybe they win it. Maybe they lose it. Lots could happen. I am not. I am down. I am not out. I am not giving up on this team. They've done too much this year for me to say that's it. It's over after one big loss.
Well, okay, that's the best argument for you that Tuesday's not a must win. That this team's so ridiculous that they could lose game 5. It could be a heartbreaker and watch them pull the next 2 wins out. You know, that more than anything, they'll defy all logic if they go down 3-2 in this series. But as JJ Redick and you said, it's only 1 loss. And let's get to the super chats. I've got 21. So
okay, well, there we go.
See.
Rich McLeod, thanks for starting us off, Rich. Sending in the first half for the ultimate reverse jinx. You just hope they didn't leave it all out there in the fourth quarter of game 3. I mean, it's that 9-minute stretch that I talked about where it was a 20-point turnaround over 9 minutes. It is as look. I mean, I wonder if we are going to look back at those 9 minutes with the people that are down and the personnel that they had out there and look back at that as the most inspiring 9 minutes of basketball that they played all year. It might just be. And by the way, only one guy was out there for the entire 9-minute stretch. Deuce McBride. Notable. No, I don't think they left it all out there. I think they got hit in the mouth a few times early in this game, and I think they kind of started to let go of the rope. What I didn't mean to sound like at the opening of the show, and what I'll correct myself now on if I did sound like this, I don't think that their tank will just remain on empty. Their tank was on empty today. And they didn't try to push the thing into the gas station. They just kind of left the car there. They'll get some gas between now and game 5. How much gas? Is it going to be enough? Are the Pacers going to because the Pacers are so good on offense, they could make good defense look immaterial. So all of those things remain to be seen, but no, I don't think they're completely out of gas. Thanks, Rich. Ryan Shepard, what's going on, Ryan? I'm assuming Shake Milton didn't lead a 38-point comeback. No, he did not. It is what it is. 3-game series with 2 at home. Far from over. If only we had played zone. Yeah. No, not sure the zone's the answer against this team. Yes, listen, they put so much pressure on you. They really do. They put a lot of pressure on you. I know I made this all about the Knicks. How about we give the team that went up by 43 points some credit? This Pacer team isn't a good offense. It's not a great offense. It is an elite offense if Halliburton is going to shoot like he's been shooting the last 2 games. And that's the thing. Halliburton all of a sudden is hitting these pull-ups. That's the other thing we haven't talked about. We keep focusing on Jalen Brunson. The other side of the coin, suddenly Tyrese Halliburton looks like Tyrese Halliburton again, which is fucking frightening. So when you factor that in, again, not good, not great, elite offense. And so how do you beat this team? You have to outscore them, which means you poke holes in their defense. Well, that's tough to do if you're not hitting shots and if your best player is not really able to do what he does. Thanks, Ryan. Hayden Freed, what's going on, Hayden? Hicks hate their moms because their dad is their uncle. It's creative. I'll give you that. It's very creative. I will give you that much. Thank you, Hayden. Kevin Danishevsky, why are you starting early? Only 15 threes away. I know. It's This was not my idea. That's all I'll say. That no, I was not. When Andrew texted me, he's like, so post game? I was like, you know what? Why don't we? Foreplay Social. How you doing, guys? Or gals, I should say. Today was like a first date where everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Law of averages says both teams won't shoot like this in game 5. I like that mentality. I completely agree. Again, the Knicks at halftime. The Knicks, actually, the better stat is the Knicks after the third quarter were 3 of 26 on threes. I don't know off the top of my head what the Pacers were on threes through 3 quarters. I know that they finished shooting 45% for the game, 14 for 31, and at halftime they were, what were the Pacers at halftime? 10 of 21. So yeah. Pretty good. Those numbers look correct. JM, what's going on, Jay? Some way, somehow, they will figure out a way to get this series to 7. And if they do, the Garden will be ready to back them up. Cheers to KFS. I'm going to say this. I'm going to listen. I don't usually make bold proclamations. I'll make one now. At the very least, the series is going 7 games. Don't know how. Don't know if it's a game 5 win and a game 6 loss. Don't know if it's a game 5 loss, game 6 win. Somehow, some way, they will get this series to 7 games. This team is not going to lose 4 straight games to this Pacer team. I just, for the life of me, I do not believe that is going to happen. So we'll see. All right, David Gridaire. Tibbs needs a real offensive coordinator. Jalen is having to work way too hard to get his points because of this dumbass handoff screen over and over and over at the top of the arc bullshit. Well, we have a frustrated fan in David Gridaire. Maybe you should apply for the position, David. I think since Tibbs is so stupid and obviously hasn't learned anything or much in his, 40 years with the clipboard, maybe you'd be better served taking the job. So, yeah.
And David, if you'd like, you and Tibbs can go to Foreplay Social, okay? And the both of you, after you're coming up with offensive and defensive game plans, you can tag team and see if you could find a lovely couple that you'd like, a couple of girls, a couple of guys, whatever you're into. I don't even know what Tibbs is into, okay? Just, you can talk about the game plan after you come up with it and, make it a double date.
I'll just note that through 2 games of this series, the Knicks had the highest offensive rating in the second round of the playoffs, and it would have been the highest offensive rating in the entire first round of the playoffs.
So you're saying that Jalen Brunson getting hurt, not having the burst on that dribble handoff is not helping his ability to get around.
I guess what I'm saying is when you do a thing that has been successful for an entire season, and then suddenly the thing that your entire offensive foundation is based on goes up in smoke. There's no, you know what though? Maybe there's an offensive coordinator out there who also comes with oh my God, what show was I watching? Fallout, where in the future apparently they can shoot you up with a needle and magically
you want healing powers. You want Mr. Miyagi in the
you want that. Yeah. I think it turns you into a ghoul though.
Mm-hmm.
Whether Jalen Brunson would be okay turning into a ghoul, I think is a different conversation.
Tonight, if Jalen Brunson's a ghoul, okay, you want to try to guard a ghoul for 48 minutes?
That's actually a great point. Yeah,
come on,
they flesh-eating ghouls are difficult to guard. Thank you for the contribution, David. Very kind of you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Hush Zoo. OG going down absolutely is a series changer. Right now, you'd have to say it is. I agree with that to some extent, but I can't say. I think Brunson's injury maybe more than That's a good question. What impacted the series more, OG going down or Brunson being this compromised? Because here's the thing. Brunson being this compromised also compromises his ability to defend, and he's already like a naturally compromised defender because of his size. So when you give a team like Indiana, like they already had a bullseye in Brunson, now you've just made the bullseye that much bigger. So, but like 6 of one, half dozen of the other, we're arguing about semantics. Like the fact that we don't have to pick and choose because both of these things that we're talking about happened and are happening actively, and then the other part of it is just like, and this is the other thing, which is why I'm like, well, did it really change the series? Just if they had one more body, like, it's play 8, trust 7, right? In the playoffs, play 8, trust 7. Well, they can't really play 8. They could play 7. And right now they could trust 5.5. That's tough. It's tough. Thanks, Hushu. Dolan Trump, what's going on? Dolan, great to see you here, my man. The MSG crowd will give this team a jolt of energy it desperately needs. Not burying them yet. Knicks in 7. Also, shout out to Foreplay. Clearly Foreplay is catching on. I know Dolan J. Trump loves him some Foreplay with FOURPLAY. I don't think we should bury this team. Not yet. I know it was ugly. I'm not burying him yet. Thanks, Dolan. Bill Peterfriend, what's going on, Bill? Be proud. The Knicks are missing their entire front court. Still have home court. Let's just wait and see if they lose. It'll be a fun offseason filled with hope forever for a change. Yeah, look, I'm not there yet where I'm like, hey, whatever happens, we're gonna the best is yet to come, and the offseason's gonna be filled with excitement and all these things. I'm not there yet. This team, and I'm not directing this at you, Bill, but just until the clock reads all zeros at the end of a fourth quarter, and another team in a series has scored more points than the Knicks 4 times. I'm not thinking about the offseason. I'm not doing it yet. Should we be proud of this team? Absolutely. Does today, the fact that they got their butts whipped, impact how proud any of us should be of them? I don't think so. And I can't even give that one a reasonable minds may differ because, if you've watched this team all year, whatever happened today, whatever happens Tuesday, whatever happens Friday, they've given everything. So what can you do? Thanks, Bill. Chris V, what's going on, Chris? Not giving up on the Knicks. Still think we could win in 6. Maybe. It's possible. They could win this series in 6 games. You heard them talk about it on the broadcast. The Knicks were. This is how quick these things change. The Knicks were a 30 seconds away. One shot goes down, misses, and then the Knicks make a shot. They were 30 seconds away from going up 3-0. And now everybody's surely going to be being like, oh, yeah, the Pacers are going to win the series. Things could flip right back the other way just as fast. I understand we're dealing with some very real issues here, which is what I started the monologue with. They are not incapable. It is going to take some things to happen, and is obviously the thing it should be obvious. They need to play better. They played in addition to all the issues, they played like shit. So you have all the issues, all the injuries, and when you add the play like shit factor on top of that, well, that's how you go down by 43. So they have to play better. They have to hope Brunson looks better. And then at some point, you hope, maybe you see OG Anunoby in this series. We'll see. Anyway, what I'm more upset about is Knicks fans burying them already. They've earned more support. Yeah, I mean, listen, again, fan, short for fanatic. People are going to be feeling the way they feel. It'll calm down eventually, but only tip I can give you: stay off social. You know, you're not getting any of that over here. I don't think, at least. Thanks, Chris. Robert W. Cross, what's going on, Robert? First time, long time. It's your boy John. I feel like the Knicks need to start Deuce and sit Precious Achiuwa. Need spacing and hope. JB can do some off-ball stuff. Yeah, I mean, look, obviously Tibbs is thinking about it. If Tibbs wasn't thinking about it, I don't think he would have started McBride in the second half. I just think there's like there's a very clear size thing where you're trading a guy who's 6'8" and like it's not just that Precious Achiuwa is a 6'8". Precious Achiuwa is a 6'8" energy guy. He's not Tobias Harris, you know. He's a guy that will go get you boards. Now, the one thing I will say, I haven't even checked the numbers today because it doesn't really matter, but they're not really getting any offensive rebounds in this series anyway. So this is funny. The Knicks actually got 16 offensive rebounds tonight. That's funny. It's their high for the series. That's actually annoying that they finally got some offensive rebounds. They had 8 at halftime. They also missed a million shots, so more opportunities. That's the other part of it. In any case, like offensive rebounding hasn't been as big a part of their success in this series, I feel like. In the fourth quarters, it has. Game 1, game 2, at least. So, but the defensive glass to me is where I'm more concerned. Also, like, I like Deuce a lot. He has made errors in this series. Like, mental error, just small mental errors on defense, but like one mental error, and that's all it takes to blow up a possession. Now, is Precious Achiuwa God's gift to defense? No, I guarantee you there's mental errors he's made. The other part of it, and you saw this manifest itself tonight a couple times, and you've seen it manifest itself a few times in this series, is are you going to trust Josh Hart on Pascal Siakam? That's something to consider. Or, I guess, alternatively, are you going to put, if you start Deuce, are you going to start Hardenstein, assuming Hardenstein plays, which I'm sure he's going to try to give it a go. Are you going to start your, Hardenstein on Pascal and then put Josh Hart on Miles Turner, which I guess would basically be that. See, to me, that would be interesting because I wonder if that would take the Pacers out of their offense and be like, well, wait a minute, we got a 6'4" guy on our center who's a pretty good, skilled offensive center. Let's like dump it down. And like, I would almost wonder if that wouldn't be a little bit of trickeration to try to take Indiana out of their offense. I don't know. The point I guess I want to make here is that anything you do, you start Precious, start Deuce, start fucking Shake Milton. There are compromises. Like there's like OG was the answer. He makes everything fit. Without him, it doesn't work as well. So anything you choose, I'm thinking of a line from my cousin Vinny that I'm not going to say out loud. But it's in the jail cell when Vinny meets the friend initially. If you know, you know. Thanks, Robert. Dom Cappuccini, man, only you, man, would come through with this level of generosity on a game when the Knicks lost by nearly as many points as your super chat is worth. Thank you, my friend. I hope it brings you good karma, because if it brings you good karma, it brings all of us good karma. I hope Tuesday night we get one back at home and wipe the smirks off of these clowns and force them to get serious again. In the meantime, we're in the gravy status. We are in gravy status. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my evening. I recommend everyone else do the same. Let's go Knicks. That's the wisest comment I think we're going to get here on the postgame show. Yeah, this is like, go find a mom, whether it's your wife, your mother, I don't know, your daughter, if there's whoever. Go find a mom, give them a hug, maybe spend some quality time. No reason whatsoever to dwell on this. And like, well, I agree with the previous comment that was like, shame on Knicks fans who were giving up on this team. And while I will double down on what I said earlier about like, it's not time to talk about the offseason, I appreciate the fact that you point out that like, whatever happens from here on in, like it is gravy territory for me, at least, given everything that has transpired. That's an important caveat, but given everything that has transpired, you're in gravy territory. Thanks, Tom. I still like to get 2 more wins. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? Big setback, another opportunity to defy the odds. I like the way you put that. Because what have they been doing all year? They've been defying the odds. Well, guess what? The odds just got longer. And what does this team always seem to do? When the odds are at their longest, that's when they come up the biggest. They can win 2 if Brunson's injury is not more serious than it looks. Scraping for a bright spot. Burks is coming around. Hashtag Nixon 7. Yeah, no, I think the Burks thing is big. Like Burks being a playable player, which we did not know if he was going to be before game 3. I think that's really big. I think that's really, really, really important because at least it gives them another body. And I don't know how much they can trust Sims. It was always going to be a lot to ask for Sims to play hashtag meaningful minutes in the series. I'm struggling with whether I think we should see more of Sims or if maybe we should pull the plug on that and just go with Achua at the 5 whenever Hartenstein has to rest. And then just go all in on small ball and like you deal with the repercussions of those actions. Yeah. Thanks, Anthony. Juanon, what's going on, Juanon? Just wanted to use the super chat to remind everyone of 2 things. 1, that Adam Silver is a spineless person. And 2, that it ain't over yet, and this team has earned us not counting them out. Hashtag fire Tibbs. Your lips to God's ears, and obviously I feel the exact same way. They have earned the right to have us continue to believe that they can do the impossible. And like at this point, again, I'll reference with Halliburton playing like Halliburton's playing, all of a sudden, I'm not going to say it looks impossible to beat this Pacer team. I think that's going a step too far. But like, I'm sure if there are odds makers, I shouldn't say that. If I was an odds maker, I would favor the Pacers for the rest of the series. That's just me. But so yeah, like they're going to be underdogs to win this now. Thanks, Juanon. Robert W. Cross with another one. Shout out to Foreplay and future moms looking past the loss and celebrating today. The great part about Foreplay is you don't have to like be going on those double dates in the hope of like, I'm going to meet the man who's going to be the father of my children. You might just be looking for a good time, And so yeah, Foreplay by another name, as it were. Yes, but shout out to all the moms. Shout out to my mom. We watched the first half together, which was I was gonna say, well, that was fun. It was not that much fun. She was more distraught about it than I was, truth be told. But yeah. Claudio Santos, what's going on, Claudio? Thank you for the generosity, man. Regardless of the result, just want to say that I love the work you guys do at KFS. That's, again, like, for someone to have the kindness and the wherewithal to have and the thoughtfulness to send in a comment like this after a game like that, that's the stuff that just like completely and totally blows me away. And I speak for, I think, everybody here at Knicks Film School when I say that. Anyway, thank you. I lived some intense years in New York City, and you make me feel like I am in town. Keep doing what you're doing. As for today, it happens sometimes. Let's go Knicks. I got to give kudos to everybody out there, man. This is like, I wasn't expecting like people to have meltdowns, but I did not think folks would be as level-headed. Now, that's probably because the people that are inclined to not be level-headed are probably did not even want to get on here and contribute, which is fine. I don't blame it. I wouldn't have blamed any. If I got on here and Andrew was like, "Yeah, there are no super chats," no one's watching. I wouldn't have blamed anyone, because if it were me and I wasn't doing this, I think I would probably, doing something that is not even remotely having anything to do with basketball for the rest of the night. So thank you everybody for watching, and thank you everybody for obviously contributing and everything that you do.
Shout out to Foreplay.
Shout out to Foreplay. Sam Garcia's dad, what's going on, Ray? Knicks 2, Hicks 2. Can't expect a depleted team to win unless JB plays like him, capital H, capital I, capital M. And I firmly believe his injury is hindering him. Back on Tuesday, let's effing go. Love the attitude. I'm gonna not give you a caveat, or certainly I'm not gonna push back. There's a reason that I phrased it the way I did earlier, with again, I don't know what percent of himself Jalen Brunson is right now. It would take someone far smarter than me to try to approximate, given his specific injury and given the specific limitations that this injury causes, where that leaves him in terms of if 0% is he can't move and 100% is he's the guy that scored 61 points against San Antonio. What is he? Is he 70%? 75%? Whatever he is, I don't think he needs to be 100%. I think he needs to be close enough to 100% where he can compromise the Pacers defense enough to put more pressure on them. The problem, and I'm going to go back to Robert's comment before about starting McBride, there was a moment I think it was already a blowout, but Miles Turner was on Precious Chua. Precious Chua was out on the perimeter. Miles Turner was just doubling Brunson. And I forget if Brunson somehow found a way to get a shot off or kicked it out to someone who was kind of sort of maybe a little bit open. But no one, if you're guarding another Knick, there's no stress, right? Because it's not I got to help off, I got to hedge, I got to do this, I got to do that. If Brunson isn't even causing stress in the Pacers defense, that's where they can't win. If he's not causing stress on the Pacers defense. And right now, it's tough to say he's causing a lot of stress on the Pacers defense. So that's the tough part. Thank you, Ray. Matt G, what's going on, Matt? It's just one game, but I think they have reached critical mass. Yeah, that's, again, there's that term. And no, this is good news because he's a freaking beast. Isaiah Hartenstein said X-rays on his shoulder came back negative. He said he may have pinched a nerve in his shoulder. He'll be fine for Game 5. What a warrior. What a freaking warrior. Give him as much money as you could give him. Please. Give that man as much money as you could give him. And no excuses from Josh Hart also, for what it's worth. We didn't come out with the right energy. This wasn't us. Now we got to watch the film and get ready for Tuesday. Yeah. Oh, wait, sorry. Let me go back to that. I don't think I read the rest of the comment. Sorry, I'm all over the place today. Critical mass in terms of healthy bodies and physical size. Start Burks, little more size than Deuce. Look, nothing at this point is crazy. I do think it is notable or worth considering. Again, I think it was Doris or JJ that said this on the broadcast. Because they're down so many bodies, you're getting guys playing together that haven't had a lot of time together in terms of lineups. So the cohesion is not really where it needs to be. And if you inject an even greater wild card into that into that mix, you are likely to exacerbate the potential defensive issues that come with facing this Pacer team. The other thing that I was going to say is like, kind of like having Burks. It's wild to say this, but in 2 games, he's kind of made himself something of an offensive spark plug off the bench, which I kind of like that. But then again, Deuce was that for a long time. So but then again, Deuce hasn't been that, he was in game 3. I don't know. It's a tough call. I wouldn't do it, and I don't think Tibbs will do it, but I'm not going to sit here and say that that's nuts because, yeah. Thanks, Matt. Thomas Bosco, what's going on, Thomas? I'm a long-time listener, first-time contributor. I want to give hats off to the KFS team, especially after losses like this. I love this community and still believe these boys are in these boys. Why not us? Yeah. Why not us? Why not now? We've said it all postseason. I'll say it again. I appreciate that very much. Appreciate the generosity. Appreciate you taking the time to exercise that generosity now, just like it probably means something to you that we get on here and we attempt, or me and Andrew and the whole team, whoever happens to be on the post game at a given time after a tough loss. It's usually Benji that we try to get on here and do this. Like, it's only a community because you and others will come on and be a part of it after a tough loss. Because again, I'm just speaking for myself. There are a lot of games where a game goes a certain way. Like, I just don't want to think about basketball anymore, but then again, I'm, actually, I don't know if that's how I am in life. Anyway, we're getting far afoul. In any case, regardless, thank you for the contribution. Thank you for the generosity, and thank you for the kind words. They are very much appreciated. I can promise you that. Will Oliver, what's going on, Will? Use as fuel to take this 3-game series. Let's go. Yeah, I think they're going to use this as some fuel. I do. I know what Brunson said a couple times in this postseason, about motivation. They're going to come out ready to play in game 5. They will. I know they will. I thought they were going to come out ready to play tonight, but yeah, it happens. Thanks, Will. Robert Cross with another one. Both DiVincenzo and Hart looked tired today. They did. They absolutely looked tired. We need them both to win this series. They take game 5. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. I hope everybody gets good night's rest. Well, I don't know. What time, how quickly could they get on that plane? I don't even know. What's the airport? What's the flight time from Indianapolis? Is that probably like it's private, it's private jet or whatever. Chartered, what are they called? Chartered plane. But like, everybody get a good night's rest tonight. Then get a good night's rest tomorrow and be ready. Thanks, Robert. They'll need both of those guys. Luyan, what's going on, Luyan? Thank you again. You've been incredibly generous this entire postseason. Appreciate this comment as well. I'll avoid bemoaning how banged up we are and the limits even this team can't overcome. Instead, I just want to say thank you to the KFS crew. You're here for the good times and the therapy sessions. # let's go next. Man, you guys blow me away. Seriously. You have no idea. Y'all are really kind. And this is not just a random community of Knicks fans. I think I will always believe that this is a special community of people. And thanks for finding us. And I agree with you. No use bemoan. I love how no one is like killing them, even though they played like shit. And who agrees that they played like shit? The players. They're all saying it to a man. Like, we're not using being tired as an excuse. Jalen Brunson's not using the foot as an excuse. Tibbs, like, we weren't ready. Got to come out ready. Like, they don't. Unlike it seems like everybody that we have come across in this postseason on the other side on the other locker room. Rick Carlisle, hello. small market teams need a fair whistle. Come on. Knicks, they just refuse to use any of this as excuses. They just say they didn't play well enough and they didn't play with enough energy, so they got to find that. I'm not mad at them, but they know they need to be better. Suhu San, what's going on, Suhu San? First time here in the super chat ever in KFS. Do you think it was fatigue or a lack of preparation? This team, you get to levy 1,001 things on this team. Lack of preparation is never one of them. I think it was just a combination of didn't play well and didn't bring enough energy. That's it. Didn't make shots. That's the other part of it. I do think when the ball starts rolling down the hill and you go from being down 5 to down 10 to down 15 to down 20 in that arena and that environment, and then I know we all want to forget about this game, but if you did pay close attention to the game after it got to 20 and maybe a little higher than 20, the Knicks would make these little mini pushes in the second quarter. And even kind of, I think maybe they made one in the early third, and then the Pacers would just hit a really tough shot. The most classic one tonight, it was early. I don't even know if the Pacers had gone up by 20 yet. They may not have. But the Knicks played absolutely perfect defense for the entirety of the shot clock. Miles Turner chucks up complete and total garbage. A sky shot from deep, and it goes in. Of course. It seemed like every time the Knicks made a little push, the Pacers would come down, and even if the Knicks played with a commensurate effort and execution on the defensive possession, the Pacers would find a way to score. So, sometimes it's just not your night. Thanks, Suhu Sam. Claudio Santos with another one. Thank you, my friend. Okay, it took some time, but Burks appears to be back at last. And though I love the guy, Deuce seems pretty lost in this series. Give some of his minutes to Burks. I think, but here's the problem. You can't say give Deuce's minutes to Burks or give Deuce's minutes to somebody else. You need to play both of them. There is no universe where this team, I don't think at least, can win 2 more games in the series where both of those guys are not playing. I don't know what the number is, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something around there, if not more. I don't think there's – how could they afford to only play Deuce, let's just say for argument's sake, 12 minutes or something? I also disagree with the characterization. I thought Deuce played really well in Game 3. He had a bad Game 6 against Philly, had a bad Game 1 and Game 2 against Indiana. I thought he played well in Game 3, and if he hits a 3 from the corner, we'd be talking about him as the hero of the game. Because at that point, his final stat line would have been 4 for 8, 13 points, a plus a bunch in his 29 minutes, turned the game around defensively, not single-handedly, but he was a big part of it. And look, this is young. This is a young role player. This is what happens with young players. You're going to have some misses and you're going to have some hits. Don't give up on Deuce. Okay. Got a couple from other Alex. Maybe Tibbs finally takes a fine to wake up this team, or better yet, hire someone who actually draws up offense. Good thing Deuce will be the 10th man next year. So, again, these are the sorts of things where, you get people who, when things are going well, they'll begrudgingly give Tibbs his praise, his flowers, and then the second something goes poorly, it's jumping off the ship. I think we got another one. Starting to think the entire training staff will be out of work soon, and Leon is going to make it a point to upgrade with how important it is under Tibbs. Or just, injuries happen. Go look around the playoffs. Everybody's hurting. Luka Doncic is hurting. Halliburton's hurting. Porzingis is out. Donovan Mitchell's hurting. Jared Allen's out. I haven't even gone through the teams that are eliminated. Jamal Murray's hurting. Should we fire all these teams' training staffs? The Denver Nuggets put up like their lowest point total in several years a couple nights ago in game 2. This will fire their coach too, or fire their offensive coordinator, or hire them an offensive coordinator. Like, sometimes it's not your night, man. You gotta take a step back off the ledge. You sound really silly, and take a page from maybe some of the older, wiser folks around you here. That's all I'm gonna say. Robert Cross with another one. Any complaining about Tibbs for this series is beyond fucking stupid. Yeah, I was gonna put the full curse on that one. Look, people are emotional. We don't blame people for their emotions. That's all there is to it. Debo, what's going on, Debo? Rough game, but game 5 will be another opportunity to continue to show what our 2024 Knicks are made of. Completely agree. Yeah, totally. They'll treat it like an opportunity. Like, I do think at times you get teams, like, I'll be very curious to see how the Thunder respond in game 4. Maybe they will respond, but that's a young team. Obviously never been in the situation before. Now, at the same time, the Knicks haven't really been in the situation either, although they were down 3-1 against the Heat last year and found the way to win game 5. That was a big win. I remember that night. Happened on my birthday. That was a big win. And they found a way. This year, they've done that how many different times, as you say? So are they down? Yes. Have they been down this much in terms of like what they've sustained? I don't think so. I think this is the most down they've ever been, just in terms of from a healthy limbs standpoint. So will it be the tallest order yet? Yes, it will be. Does it mean they can't do it? No, it doesn't mean that. Thank you, Debo, and shout out to you for again popping in, even though Kev is off tonight. Okay, Alex, is this the last? Andrew, let me know if this is the last one.
9 more.
Oh, 9 more. Okay, but this is apparently a good one. So let me read it. If Mike Breen ever wants to do a triple bang, he should sign up for foreplay. Yes, he
Super
should.
chat of the year.
Yeah, that's
Alex.
a good one.
OG
Triple bang.
Alex. We like OG Alex. Okay. Shout out to OG Alex.
Triple bang.
To the folks of Foreplay, if you're looking to add a parent app, that specializes in other dating preferences, Triple Bang has a nice ring to it.
Triple bang. That's a good one.
You're welcome. That one's free.
That's great. I want to read just a couple quotes before I read David Crockett's super chat. Brunson, yeah, we're shorthanded, but that doesn't matter right now. We have what we have, and we need to go forward with that. We're shorthanded. There's no excuse. There's no excuse whatsoever. And then Dante DiVincenzo on why the Knicks did not come out with more energy, or why the Pacers came out with more energy. They just competed harder from start to finish. They played with an edge that we didn't play with today. Nobody's making any excuses. None. Zero. Okay. Let's get back to David's super chat. Respect to Fargo Tufo, OG Alex, for the GOAT super chat. Hashtag let's go Knicks. Yes. Respect to you, David. Thank you. Kevin Danishevsky with another one. Hello, Kevin. It's times like these where I try to focus on the macro. We have our superstar, second star, all of our assets, 3-and-D, plus guy and OG, plus dogs, hedging a bit. Yeah, look, if you want to think big picture as we come down the stretch, that's totally fine. I wouldn't blame anyone for doing that. I'm staying in the moment right now. Like, I guess, I'll give you this. It's less about like the assets that we have and like how well we're set up moving forward. I mean, it's kind of that, but here's what it isn't. At no point in time have we ever had to be like, oh my God, if the Knicks don't win it all this year, it will be a disaster. Would it have been a disaster if they lost the Philly series after blowing game 5 the way they did? That would have been like borderline disastrous. But just from like that could really shake an organization up. Like what's happening right now is not going to shake anything up. This is reality. But like, there are teams that go into postseasons where They're like, if we don't win it all this year, or we don't at least like make the finals or like make it to the conference finals and like give some team a hell of a run and it's a flip-flop series or maybe a couple of little short. Like there are teams that are in those scenarios every year. The Knicks are not in that scenario. So like if we were sitting here and we'd be like, man, these freaking injuries, we're blowing our best shot at a title, maybe it would be a little bit of a different attitude. But from that perspective, which is kind of what you're saying, I'm not as it's part of why I'm like, not losing my mind, I guess. And also the series is not over. Charlie Boy third. What's going on, Charlie Boy? Thank you for the generous contribution. Hey, John, you nailed it. It's the lack of acknowledgement from the national media about what this team is battling injury-wise. It is annoying. These Pacers are frauds and don't deserve the Eastern Conference Finals. I still feel like we're going to win the next two. They can win the next two. They can win 2 of the next 3. And you know what, Charlie Boy third? If they don't, and they lose in 6 or lose in 7, and the Pacers advance to the conference finals, it's not going to make me think any more of the Pacers. It's not. Because sometimes teams that don't belong in the conference finals end up in the conference finals. I forgot about them last time I talked, but Andrew reminded me, look no further than the 2011 or 2021 Hawks, And that's just one example. There are other examples. And this Pacer team would be one of them. Now, look, the respect that I will give them, which I don't want to give them, but I will give them. And again, Halliburton makes all the difference. With Halliburton being Halliburton, which he sure kind of looks like a very close version of that in these last 2 games, they are an elite offense. Does it mean they're a great team? No. But if you're going to be either an elite defense or an elite offense in the league today, you want to be an elite offense. Unless you're Minnesota and you are an elite defense and have one elite offensive player and then the second, like, kind of elite-ish offensive player. But you want to be an elite offense. So, I will say, I will agree with you that the Pacers, do they quote-unquote deserve the Eastern Conference Finals? In a normal year, no, they would not deserve an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. But they've gone all in on offense, and if you're going to go all in on something in the league today, it's better to go all in on offense, and that thus far, they have reaped the rewards of that bet. So, from that perspective, good job. Do I ever think that they are winning like it all with this version of their team? No, I don't. Look, that's may not be their prerogative. Thank you, Charlie Boy third. JM, what's going on, Jay? We're going to keep fighting because that's what we do. Yes. It's the only thing that needs to be said. Rich Conforti, believe. Simple and sweet, Rich. I love it. Nobody should give up hope. I'm not. And Sam Garcia's dad with another one. Agree, Brunson doesn't need to be 100%, but the Knicks ain't winning unless JB gets at least 35 points and probably more. I don't even, why do we need to put a number on it? I think, again, he needs to compromise the Pacers defense. Now, is he best at compromising a defense with the scoring as opposed to the passing? Yes. But let's not forget that through however many games before the last couple, he was averaging 34, 35 points a game. He was also averaging over 8 assists. And so, when the pass was there to be made, he was making the pass. So if he could get the offense going individually and he puts the Pacers in a position where they have to tilt more of their defense towards him and he's making passes, is there a world where he can score 26 or 24, 26, 28, 30 points and they win? I think there is. I agree with you. It's more likely that he goes for a big number, but maybe that's not it. Canyon Pepper. What's going on, Canyon Pepper? Thoughts on Hallie's showboating? It gets under my skin. I could sit here and lie and say I don't care about it. It absolutely gets under my skin. He is. I'm actually trying to think. Well, Embiid, before last series, before the Philly series, I would have said that Tyrese Halliburton is my least favorite. Like, the way he goes about his business on the court and the way all of his showboating and all of his nonsense. It's so reminiscent of Reggie Miller. It's not even funny. I've never hated a player like I hate Reggie Miller. And again, before the Philly series, I would have said Halliburton is the player I hate the most. Not like hate his game, but like, because the dude's great. Like, to say you hate a player, to me, it's a compliment, because nobody's going to hate anybody that sucks, Like, I'm not going to name any names. But no, like, you're not hating on a guy who plays, 10 minutes off the bench or something and scores 3 points. Like, no, Halliburton's really good. But the bullshit, all of that nonsense, despise it. Despise it to no end. And it's a tough call between him and Embiid, who I hate more at this point. It's a very tough call. Thank you, Kanyon. Robert Cross with another one. My sage advice to everyone is not to get off the ledge, but throw a Sixer, Pacer, or Celtics fan off of one. Celebrate. Thanks. Yeah, we don't want to advocate actual violence, but you're older than me, so you're in a better position to give advice, Robert. I'll just say that. And then Robert with another one. 10 Toes, Kevin Danishevsky. Get the hell out of here with this offseason crap. Blows kisses from Central Oregon. That's the bromance we need. You guys should go on a foreplay date. You guys should meet up somewhere in the middle. Kevin's out here in New York. Robert, you're out in Oregon. Where's the middle of
literally
Oregon
the middle of the country would be somewhere in the middle. The Mississippi River.
Meet up in Kansas and get on the old foreplay app and go on a little double date. Might as well.
I don't want a recap of that.
I will not be doing the post game for that experience.
I want to hear from the other two people. They just kept fighting at each other. I couldn't understand it. I thought they were supposed to be like,
it's
wingmen, and they just didn't.
It's funny that my wife is watching Friends, which I never realized. She never finished the show. She watched like the first several seasons, so she's getting through the rest of it now. And there's an episode in one of the last couple seasons where Joey and Ross go. They both meet a girl, unbeknownst that the other has met the same girl.
I know the episode.
And then it's Ross is on a date with her, and Joey just shows up, and they get into this like bickering match, and then the girl just leaves. So I have a feeling that is probably what would happen.
Yep. Weren't you on this poster for this disease? It's like, how many times you've been married?
that was what it was.
Yeah,
good memory, man. You have a really good memory.
One of the shows I enjoyed the most. I also rewatched like 4 seasons earlier this year, just as like an editing show to put on in the background after Matthew Perry died. So
yeah, that's going. Yeah,
so
rest in peace, Matthew Perry. All right, weird way to end this show.
Can I actually end it in the most proper way possible?
Sure.
The most proper way possible. Because, look, I know a lot of us, and I actually, maybe not even a lot of us, because the energy on this post game, I think, was exactly what John and I needed today. The support and the positive vibes from Knicks fans has been outstanding. And it's why I love this community. It's why I love jumping on with you guys and seeing all the comments roll in, fighting with Sixer fans who have nothing better to do because their team got eliminated. So you've resorted to becoming Pacer fans. How pathetic for you.
That's the saddest fucking thing.
It is the saddest thing. Go watch something else. Go watch the Phillies are in first place and you're watching Knicks Pacers and jumping on our YouTube channel. While you're here, please subscribe. But like, while today sucked, everybody else in this chat, and our community really picked up our spirits. And the Knicks have a huge Game 5 coming up, and it's going to take an effort that we've seen them give us before. And we'll see what happens on Tuesday.
And-
however,
Yeah.
can we take the next 10 seconds and laugh at the Brooklyn Nets?
Well, yes.
It happened again.
Well, no, I thought you were going to say, can we laugh at the Pistons?
No. Brooklyn's pick jumped into the top 5, John.
Yes,
jumped into the top 3.
But they weren't going to keep the pick anyway. Like, no matter what happened
But that's
tonight,
the point. James
I know.
Harden, that trade meant another. What is it about little brother that they just love to rebuild other franchises?
I know.
You built a dynasty in Boston, although not a dynasty. You built a title contender in Boston. Now look what you're doing in Houston. Bravo, little brother. Bravo.
I'll say this, offseason got a little bit more interesting tonight with giving both the Hawks and the Rockets some ammunition. Those are two teams that obviously have designs on having very good seasons next year. So, they're both obviously going to be looking to trade out of those spots. So curious if anybody wants to jump in and get them. But that's a conversation for another day. I appreciate that way to end it. And I will just second everything you said, which is to say thank you for every Knicks fan out there, whether you're down in the dumps or you're sky high. Appreciate you being with us and sharing some of your Mother's Day with just a couple of guys who are just like you, just commiserating about an ass whooping. That happens sometimes, but they're down but not out. We'll say that. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Subscribe.
One super chat came in real quick.
Okay.
Now it's just a super chat from Andy McCabe, like no comment. So Andy, if you have a comment and you want to put it in the live chat, I'll read it. Thank you for the generous contribution. Otherwise,
I'll keep signing us out, and if you see that comment come in, let me know. Yes, subscribe to this channel if you dig what we're doing here at Knicks Film School. Give it a thumbs up. If you're listening on the podcast, we dig those 5-star ratings and any positive reviews as well. We will be back with more fun and games very soon. Do we have an episode that we're recording tomorrow?
Most likely. I gotta it's Jeremy
regroup.
Time. Yeah, we gotta. It's the beginning of the week, so we usually go to Jeremy, but
That's right.
we have not scheduled anything. I will just say, as far as watch parties are concerned, nothing on Tuesday. They have a private event at T-Squared Social, so looks like Game 6 and Game 7 will be our next watch parties on Friday and Saturday, as well as if you want to announce what your plans are for Tuesday.
Yeah, keep an eye out. I've hit up just because this will be the second time I'm going to the Garden. I'm supposed to be. I'm not. It's not 100% yet. I'm probably going. But if indeed I do end up going, I will be at Penn 6, which is again literally across the street from Madison Square Garden on 31st Street, just off 7th Avenue. For pregame festivities. I got there a couple hours before the game last time. A bunch of Knicks fans showed up, met a bunch of people. That was really fun. So yeah, I'll just be there, having a beverage or two before that game. Let's go get a win in Game 5.